Hi everyone, my name is Erin. I am a second semester senior in Ezra Stiles College. I'm studying psychology and I'm from Maryland. I use she, her pronouns, and I am an academic strategies peer mentor.
And hi, I'm Emily. I am a rising senior in Pauli Murray College. I'm majoring in cognitive science and I'm from Berlin, Vermont. My pronouns are also she, her, hers, and I'm also an academic strategies peer mentor. So today we're going to be talking broadly about getting organized and setting priorities. And so one of the biggest steps in getting organized is just first setting those priorities. And so since everyone has different goals and priorities, this right now is a great moment to maybe pause and maybe pause this video and either think about or write down what is the most important thing to you during this semester or future semesters. And so consider both your academics and your personal, social, professional life. And Erin, just out of curiosity, what are some of your priorities for this semester this year?
Yeah, I guess since I'm a second semester senior, this is really my last chance to take classes that are outside my field of study. So I'm really going to prioritize just exploring new subjects and yeah. Yep. Okay, so now that we've set some priorities, you can schedule time to devote yourself to the things that are most important to you and your goals. For example, making a schedule for each day. So the first thing to think about when making a schedule for each day is working through what must be accomplished, what may be accomplished, and what could be accomplished. And this will allow you to prioritize your work accordingly.
Yeah, and as you're doing this, you definitely want to make sure that you're breaking your study time and work time up into 30 or 60-minute chunks because it's just as important to take breaks to rest your eyes, especially with courses being remote, from all of the screen time you might be having, and also just to stretch and move your body, which is all just as important as it is to actually like sit down and study. But with that, you also want to make sure while you're breaking those things up to save some time for things like checking emails, checking Canvas, and other forms of electronic communication, which are going to become really, really important in college if they haven't been already for you. And so that brings us into the next kind of major component of the topic regarding time management, which is actually doing the thing and organizing your work. Erin, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so working remotely in particular is going to require both synchronous work, which means work like Zoom meetings that you have to be a part of, or any other meetings that you're required to be present for, as well as asynchronous work, which includes working on an essay in your own time or a piece set. So in order to figure that kind of work out, you want to make sure to look at each course's Canvas site to figure out what meetings are required and what asynchronous work has been assigned to you. And then in your weekly calendar, you should mark out the non-negotiable times. So these are times such as class meetings and essential self-care like your meals and sleep and exercise.
Yeah, and you also want to mark out the intense concentration times that you might have. So these are going to be times when your environment and your resources allow you to concentrate a lot more. So these are good times to work on high concentration assignments or work. So like if you really want to sit down for a couple hours and grind out an essay or things like that, this is a really great time to do that.
Mm-hmm. And you also want to focus on lighter concentration times as well. So these are times when you can get some work done, but probably won't or will be distracted. So for example, when you're doing work while the family is cooking dinner, or that lull in the middle of the day when you're having trouble concentrating. So this is generally a good time to do that work that doesn't require as much concentration or other important tasks.
Yeah, so with this, you also want to make sure that you're sorting out your asynchronous work, kind of like we already mentioned there, either blocked out in your calendar, as Erin's about to demonstrate a couple examples of, or using a to-do list on top of a calendar or whatever other organization method that works for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to share this. Okay, so this is what a typical first year student's schedule might look like. So the synchronous work that we have logged in here is our classes. So we have Math 112, Spanish, Econ, and English. And then we also have office hours that are scheduled in and a weekly matriculate cohort meeting.
Yeah. And then there's also some other things that are scheduled into this person's calendar here. You'll see a couple of deadlines scheduled in. And so this kind of goes with organizing your work and taking stock of your Canvas at the beginning of the semester. So we've blocked out a couple of times, for example, on Tuesday night to work on that math piece at due Wednesday, Thursday night after dinner time to work on maybe the draft of the essay that's due the next day. And you'll also see a Spanish tutoring session on Wednesday, which is scheduled in as well with a little bit of Spanish quiz studying. And then there's also just little things that sometimes can be lost to the wayside if you're really just focusing on your work too much, but are really, really important to give yourself time for. And that's things like the virtual dinner that's scheduled on Friday night, or the sweet movie night on Saturday. And also you'll see one instance on Monday of yoga scheduled in, because you want to make sure, especially with remote classes, that you're moving and stretching and getting your body up and moving periodically as well.
Totally.
Yeah. So with that also leads into kind of like, what are the circumstances that you're in and how can you adapt to those? And so in kind of this idea of taking stock of what you have, first of all, acknowledging these academic circumstances are new and daunting for everyone. And learning remotely and in some cases at home can definitely be stressful. And so that's why it's a good idea to take stock of your environment and your resources that you have. And so what do we mean by that? We're talking about what are the rhythms of the environment that you're in. So if you're at home, you might be considering the rhythms of daily family life, like Erin mentioned, maybe when your family tends to cook dinner, or maybe when you're eating dinner together or helping out with chores around the house.
Yeah. And another way to think of rhythms in your environment is to think about the times of day when you might be expected to engage with your family members or your roommates. You might also want to think about what kinds of interruptions you could expect. And just thinking about these rhythms can allow you to have more purposeful conversations with your family and your roommates regarding when you definitely need space to do coursework or be on the computer, as well as when you might be needed around the house.
Yeah. So the keys here are definitely compromise and communicate. So remember that if you can't necessarily participate in all your synchronous class meetings or other meetings, those are the kind of situations where you should definitely reach out as soon as possible to your professor or whoever's leading that meeting that you have, and they'll work with you to figure something else out.
And another environmental element to consider is just like, when are the times of day when your environment is less busy?
Yeah, and these less busy times can definitely be devoted to studying or catching up with family and friends. And of course, that's up to obviously you to prioritize, but it's a really good idea to track when your environment is just less chaotic, so you can better plan for the kinds of activities that you do during those times of day.
So while taking stock of your environment, don't forget that your instructors have all been encouraged to be flexible in accommodating the needs of their students. So this means that if there are any personal circumstances standing in between you and doing well in the class, you should definitely inform your instructor. So for example, think about your resources. Do you have stable internet connection? Will you be joining classes from your computer or your phone? Do you have a working microphone and or headphones? So while a lack of internet connection and a working microphone are not the responsibilities of the instructor, notifying them of that or any other situation will put you on a better path to succeed.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to keep in mind that professors are also struggling and new to this. And so whether they're juggling new technology or childcare, it's important to keep that in mind and just recognize we're all in this together and navigating this kind of weird, complicated, and sometimes really challenging remote class space. And so we really, really want to encourage you to reach out to all of the plethora of resources that you have at your disposal when you feel like you're hitting obstacles or you're having a hard time. And so we also know that getting organized in and of itself is a pretty big task and can be challenging at different times. So reach out to your professors, reach out to your deans, and also feel free to reach out to us at Academic Strategies, because this is why we're here, to help you figure these things out and find a system that works best for you.
Yeah. So bottom line, we're all in this together and we're all going to make it through and it's going to be an awesome academic year. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thanks for watching.